Now let's also do swap rate. For now, I'm going to put an arbitrary number. The only issue is whether or not that's the proper rate. For that rate to be proper, uh, it needs to be basically the present value uh, of what you get and what you receive should be the same. Now, if I agree to give you €1 and receive 125 from you, okay, that means every year I'm gonna receive $125 from you, and I'm gonna give you €1. But the fair value of that first €1 is not 125. So I'm actually getting more than I should be getting, right? So difference between swap rate minus the forward. So if you're doing this, let's also do to make numbers a little bit make more sense. Let's call this notional amount. Suppose we're doing this for €1,000,000. Let me make that a different format and show that I'm actually doing euros. Okay. And I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 1,000,000. But we measure the difference in dollar terms. So the first year, I'm actually getting 63,000 more than the fair value because I'm receiving 125, right? If I drag these down, but on the other hand, on year 10, I'm getting over almost 102,000 less than the fair value in terms of forward. The rate that's gonna the swap rate that's gonna make this fair is the rate that's gonna make the present value of these differences zero. Yes, initially I get more, but then I get less. So let's calculate the PV of, let's calculate the PV of difference. I'm going to take that difference since they are in dollar terms. I'm going to calculate present value using dollar interest rate. In this case, we are foreign, right? So in today's dollars, that extra payment that I get in year one is actually equal to 60,000, almost 61,000, or the extra amount or deficiency extra amount that I'm paying in year 10 is equal to about 67,000. So let's calculate the sum here. Since everything is in present value terms, I don't have to worry about this. I can add stuff up. All right. Maybe I'll make that italic too. I don't know. It's my cell. I can do whatever I want with it. So I need to change that swap number so that the sum of the present value of the difference is zero. You can be uncivilized and do that by trial and error method. How about 120? Well, it made it even. How about 130? So the number is somewhere between 125, 130. Oops. Again, entered into the wrong place. By trial and error, I can find a solution, but those of you who took classes from me, you know that I'm a civilized person. What am I going to do? I'm going to do a goal seek. Okay. Let me also change the formatting of this. So let me make that, I don't know, purple. That's the thing I want to make zero. So under data tab, I'm going to go to what if analysis, goal seek. I'm going to set this cell to zero by changing the swap rate. Turns out the right number to use is 126.20. Okay. Now, if the spot rate changes, that's no longer the proper swap rate. All I have to do is repeat the analysis. I can always make that automatic, but I chose not to because I actually want you to actually want you to go through this process. Let me make this extra digits as well. Now I have the right number. I'm going to go to my bank and say, how about every year I pay you 1 million euros and you pay me $1,267,800 for the next 10 years. We done the deal. I don't have to worry about my hedging issues. If you expect different amounts every year, obviously we can modify this. I'm not going to ask you guys, but you're going to basically do a weighted kind of average stuff. But it's exactly the same sort of conceptual exercise. Now I have a long-term instrument that's going to completely manage my expected exposure. If over time your exposure changes, all you have to do is modify your swap agreement or add additional stuff to it. But if I'm expecting equal 1 million euro exposure over the next 10 years, I'm all set. If next year my expectations changes and it becomes, uh, 125, all I have to do is add to that. I mean, you cannot hedge, not you cannot, but it's not easy to hedge changes in your exposure. Because if you could anticipate what it was going to be, you could do it right now. You're basically responding to it. All right. Let's stop here today. On Wednesday, we're going to actually do a full scale introduction to futures contracts, how they work, how do you manage exposure, how cash flows goes in and out when you get margin calls and that sort of stuff. Then I'll give you guys your first homework assignment based on those. I'll see you guys next Wednesday. Monday, there's no class. Labor Day.